This is MJ, and today I'm going to show you how to make this loop stitch. It's a really fun stitch to make. And for this design I'm working on right now, I'm using 3 strands of worsted weight yarn. Prior to starting my blanket, I made up a little swatch and I washed it just to be sure that none of my loops would come through the other side. So I have my loops here. This has all been washed, and then I've cut loops and started to brush it out. I've just been experimenting for a new design, so I just wanted to try it out a couple ways and wash it up to see how it would come out. And this is actually with the larger hook, and then I was working some of it with a smaller hook as well. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use my 16mm Q hook, and I'm using super bulky weight yarn, but the 3 strands would be the equivalent, so you could use 3 strands of worsted weight. So I've already started out with a row of just single crochet. This is going to be the right side of our piece, and so I've worked across 10 single crochet, and then I'm going to turn and chain 1. So now to do the loop stitch, we're going to hold the yarn up, go through the stitch, take your hook and twist it around and pull through. So now what I've noticed is that you have to be sure that, see how my loop is here, my yarn is here. We want the loop to go over top of the yarn over, and then pull through. If that yarn doesn't go in the right spot, the loop can pull through. So let's do it again. Grab your loop, pull it through, drop the loop, making sure the loop goes over top of the yarn, and pull through. Go through, grab your yarn, pull it through, drop your loop, make sure your loop goes over top, and then pull through. There's the loops on that side. You can pull on that a little bit to lengthen it. So as I'm dropping my loop, I'm kind of just grabbing it with my fingers just to make sure you pull it up. See, the loop could easily go underneath if you're not paying attention. And if that happens, you can see that the loop will come back through. So it's really important. So you go through your stitch, you're going around, pulling it through, and then you need to make sure the loop is going over the yarn as you pull it through. So I played around with this a bit to make sure that those loops were staying. Another way I found can work, if you go through and go around and pull this way, Same idea, except your loop wants to stick more upright instead of down, but it holds it as well. It just is kind of pushing it into the opposite direction. So after some experimenting to make sure we didn't lose any of these loops, I found this to be the easiest. So you're going around, grabbing the loop, dropping the loop, just holding it there with your finger just to be sure it goes down over top. It is a little bit time consuming to do the loop stitch. Sort of once you get going at it and you get a rhythm going, dropping the loop, holding it, it's not too bad. To get the stitch a bit tighter, you can drop a hook size. But with my swatch, with the looser and the tighter stitch, both of them passed the wash test and the loops didn't come through. Okay, so now we're back to our right side. And then we do a row of single crochet across the right side. If we did loops again, they would poke through onto the wrong side, which we don't want. So just work a row of single crochet all the way across. Worked across in single crochet, now we'll turn and chain one and we'll do another row of loop stitch. So again, you're going through the stitch. I generally use this finger to hold up my yarn, so you'll see me switching back and forth, but I think it's easier for you to see if I use my index. So you go through, wrapping your yarn, wrapping the hook around, pulling it. Now we're going to let go of the loop. I'm going to grab it with my fingers and see my loop is over the yarn. Yarn over, pull through. Going around, twisting it, pulling it through, dropping the loop. The loop is over top of the yarn, so the yarn's coming, and that's sort of knotting the loop. So let's just examine sort of how the loop, see how the loop is snug. So these loops are going to stay in place. So if you are curious yourself as to whether your loops are going to stay, you don't want to work through an entire project for them to come loose, make a little swatch, throw it in the wash, and see if it's a success. If you're still finding that your stitch here is a bit too loose, drop your hook size to make sure that your loop is tight in there.